What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legion's Reinforcements review, taking a look at, of course, another Legion builder. We have got one of the new characters on deck today. We're taking a look at our Templar Relic Guard, which of course is a very Teutonic Knight style of figure, and I've been pretty excited about this one. I really like the Templar that we got in the Dark Templar we got in the Deluxe Legion builders, and of course this is more of the same but different. So we've got him here in our standard Legion style packaging, of course. You got your figure there in the window, we've got our faction card on one spine, you've got the bio on the other, and then the back of the box gives us that fantastic Nate Barch artwork showcasing a bunch of ogres about to wail on someone, as well as the cross-sell for the entire batch of reinforcements. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Mythic Legion's Reinforcements 2 Templar Relic Guard. So we've got 3 Templars now, if you've been doing this for a while. We've got the regular Templar, we got the Dark Templar, which is where most of this guy comes from in terms of the overwhelming use of parts, and now we've got our Relic Guard. And this guy, based on just his colors, so this white and the black, is basically a Teutonic Knight, but it all works, it's all interconnected. So let's see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. I don't think I've ever actually reviewed a Templar of any kind. I didn't get to the Dark Templar in the Deluxe Legion builders, and I never reviewed a regular one. I actually have never opened a regular Templar until now. I've opened one for the purposes of this video. So, you know, there you go. I do this for you guys, not for me. So we've got a head that can look up, look down, tilt side to side. You got rotation there. Normal stuff. It's 1.0. Arms out at the shoulders. They rotate, of course. We've got our single jointed swiveling elbow. You've got gauntlet swivel. We've got hinges. We've got rotation at the wrist. 1.0 figure, so single piece at the torso. He goes backwards a good bit, forwards a good bit as well. Tilt side to side and rotation there. Legs are going to go out pretty much all the way. They kick forward. They kick backwards. We've got our thigh twist up there. Single jointed, swiveling knee, of course. And then you've got rotation at the top of the ankle. You've got your rocker. And then you've got some hinge down there at those ankles as well. So just like really every other figure lately, he is still a 1.0 figure. If you're used to one, you're used to all of them, but he still has really good range. No real issues putting this guy into poses. Now, as far as the overall look and feel on this guy, this is one of those where there sort of is and isn't a lot to talk about, because at face value, he is just a very standard mix of parts done up mostly in silver with the tunic chest piece, which I'm still a big fan of. I like that look. It breaks up the armor, really. And then he's got the little tabard piece that hangs down. I think the bigger aspect of this one is going to be comparing him to the other Templars, specifically the Dark Templar, because they're almost the same figure, really. It's all just color changes. So, you know, let's go ahead and just do that. So here's our Dark Templar. And of course, you know, this one doesn't have pauldrons on him yet. We'll talk about those, but they're the same. So there's our Dark Templar, and again, this guy came out in the Deluxe Legion Builder wave. And then here is the original Templar, and this guy has had a couple releases depending on how and where you got him. There's different versions with different kind of paint applications. I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones that Big Bad Toy Store got, because there was something different about that one. I think there's even an article on the Source Horseman site to help differentiate what is and isn't the correct version. So, you know, there you go. They're all basically the same though. So this gives you an idea of what they look like with each other. This one, you know, across these two is very different. This is our standard Templar, and then this is our dark one. These two are the exact same mix of parts, everything. The belt is the same, the legs, the arms, the chest, the tabard, the head sculpt is the same. The only difference comes down to these horns, and this guy had these unique horns. You, of course, could swap those in if you wanted. The bigger thing that I like with this new figure is just how silver his armor is. It's more inline, but even slightly more silver than the regular Templar, because one of my major problems with the dark figure was that he's so, well, dark, which makes sense, but at the same time, he looks a lot more plain in comparison to other figures, because he's like this almost matte finish, but he's still really metallic, so it's kind of odd. I do like that figure, but I feel like this is a better representation of an actual suit of armor. So I really like the shine on this new figure, and I really like the inverted colors. It shows at face value that these two are kind of opposing each other. So, you know, I do really like that. Very, very similar across the board. You know, of course, they all retain that cross on their chest in differing colors. But I'm really happy with this guy. And, you know, like I said, I've never actually opened this guy. I've got a handful of these, and I've never opened one until now. They're not my favorite aspect of Legions, and I know Templars in general have a weird place in this line with people because they're a real thing, or they were a real thing. So it's kind of like injecting some real-world stuff into Mythic Legions, which some people do and don't care for. I just don't really care one way or the other, I suppose. But I like this guy. I like the bucket helmet. I like the shine on the armor. I really like this stark contrast with that tabard design. Paint is pretty clean and crisp. The only thing I've got to point out as a concern is maybe watch when you move him for the first time. He was clearly a little bit wet in some way. So I've got some paint that kind of rubbed off. It's actually stuck on the inside of the belt piece. I can see it when I go in there. Not a huge deal, but, you know, word to the wise. I'm not sure if it's something you can avoid, but be careful with it either way. Head sculpt looks good. I like the bucket design. I like the horns this time around. Not sure I have any interest in switching those out. I kind of like the way they look here. And in general, this is just a really solid looking knight figure. You know, if you wanted to go the distance with him and swap out that torso for a more standard knight torso, you do have the option, of course, and then you can make him, you know, something a little bit more generic even, because this is obviously going for a specific thing. But he does look pretty cool, pretty imposing, and if you're into Templars, he's going to look really cool alongside some of the standard ones. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy has a pretty solid spread, and just like the rest of the figure, is still mirroring the Dark Templar. From start to finish, they're basically opposing each other. That applies pretty much through the accessories, with the exception of this alternate head sculpt that we get. And I'm really excited about this one for a couple reasons. First of all, this is the frogmouth helm from the Red Shield Soldier that came back in with the Arethyr wave, and I don't believe we've seen this since. And I only have one of those figures, so I don't really have a lot of this head sculpt. For whatever reason, I didn't buy multiples of that guy, and I have regretted it since. So it's cool to get this helmet. I also really like it in general. It's really goofy, it's really weird, it's rooted in reality, like this is a real style of helmet, but it's undeniably odd, and I like kind of the absurdity of it. It does match the Red Shield Soldier armor pretty well. Like, these two are pretty consistent in their armor color through and through, so this helmet, for whatever that's worth, does look very close to the original one. I'm not so sure that I prefer it on this body. I think it fits better on the Red Shield Soldier's torso, but this does work for me. I'm pretty happy with this. I don't know which helmet I prefer, honestly, because I like the novelty of this thing, really. He does include some pauldrons as well. These are the same pauldrons that are on the Dark Templar. They're small, they have kind of a low profile, they aren't really big and bulky. This is one of those figures, in the rare instances for me, that I think is fine with or without. Like, I think he looks just fine without them, with that other head sculpt on, but I think he looks pretty solid like this too. So you've got options always. Let's check some weaponry out. We've got a sword, so it's got a sheath, just a silver with sort of a dark gunmetal-y gray color, and this matches the armor, of course. We've got this sort of polearm, halberd type of weapon. This thing is humongous. The Dark Templar comes with this also. The Red Shield Soldier comes with this too. It's like 2 inches taller than the figure. And this tip on the end, this piece is removable. This is where all your blades, your pointies are. And then you've got a little point down here. So if you wanted to do that or swap it out with something else, you know, if you've got another silver thing, you can go that route. So that's always cool. I like that. And then we get the shield, which is, again, themed to this figure, so it's got the white and the black cross. This is the opposite of the Dark Templar shield. I do have some paint slop on this. There's some white here and here where it shouldn't be. I feel like I can probably just scrape that off, so not a huge thing. A rare paint slop on a Legion's figure for me. It's bound to happen eventually, but this does look good, and I like just the theming behind that. And then, of course, we do get the ever-present strap, which will work really nicely with this, with the little clip that you've got on the scabbard. So some pretty good stuff here. You know, in general, I'm drawn to this helmet in particular just by virtue of the fact that it's back. I would love to see the Red Shield Soldier reintroduced sometime down the road, just so I can get a few more. But if this is how I have to get more of that kind of stuff, I am down for that, because it's a really cool head sculpt and certainly can be used in a few different ways. So yeah, overall, pretty solid figure. Probably not my favorite from this wave, just in general. You know, there's obviously a reason behind why I haven't ever opened any of the Templars. They don't exactly do it for me. Not my favorite aspect of Mythic Legions, but I don't have any disdain for them either. I just never got to it, I guess. Years and years and never got to it. This guy is pretty cool, though. I like the shine on the armor. If anything, it's actually shinier than the regular Templar, and it's definitely shinier than the Dark Templar, and that was probably my main criticism of that figure, is I didn't feel like his armor was armory enough. I like the white-black contrast here. Comes with some solid accessories. I really like, just in general, how the Dark and the Relic Guard are going to play off of each other because they're very much opposing. They use the same mix of parts but kind of go in a different direction with it. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legion's Reinforcements 2 Templar Relic Guard. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.